Super Dave here with another review.
Thundercats! Thundercats! Ho! Hello and welcome to another Super Dave review where today we're looking at another Thundercat. This time a good guy. It's only half of the pair, the twins, one of our core favorites, Wily Kit. We don't have Wilykat yet. Some of you that got in on the Mattel version have both already, but I was not so fortunate to get in on that. And they are going for a lot, usually over $200 new, complete on the aftermarket with this set. That was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, I do believe, but finally getting Wily Kit in hand, and she is looking fabulous. Can't wait to add her to the collection. Been looking forward to this one. There's the artwork on the back, looking so good. She was always my favorite of the two. And there is the bio. If you'd like to pause and read that, you certainly can. But let's go ahead and break open this box. We didn't get the sleeves in this wave. I guess they figured, you know, save a little bit of money on some of the weight as well as packaging, but still looks good in this collector-friendly packaging. I'm a little disappointed that she didn't come with more things as far as like relics or accessories. None of the little bullet things that they used to throw. Maybe Wilykat will come with those that, you know, used to explode and, you know, create all kinds of cool monsters or clouds or smoke or various tricks. They're on her belt, little tiny little capsules there, but it would have been nice to have gotten something that she could have held in her hand. But anyway, we're going to take a look at what she did come with right now on Third Earth, back here where the Thunder Tank and all the other Thundercats are waiting for her. It's just kind of sad that we don't have Wilykat to celebrate this together. But I guess he'll come this year later on. But let's get over here and do our review. Hey, I just want to take a moment to introduce you to the new Super Dave membership section. Come on and join us today. There's some cool perks, including the Super Dave shop. Buy some action figures at a good price and connect with me on a more personal level. Let's take it to the next level. Come on, let's have fun. And here we are on Third Earth with the other Thundercats, getting ready to take a look at Wily Kit. She's looking amazing. And let's first take a look at her accessories. And first of all, Wily Kit comes with two sets of hands, completed anyway. First of all, it's this little tiny set of weapon holding hands, horizontally hinged. She also comes equipped with, I would say, more gesturing hands. That left hand looks more like a gesturing hand, whereas the right hand looks like it could hold something like her surfboard, or at least, you know, look like she's holding it, but they're more gesturing hands. And then we do come with one single right hand, and I was wrong when I was looking at the package earlier. Even though we don't get any loose capsules, we do get a hand. That's why we only get one instead of two hands here. But this one is unique because it is actually holding one of the capsules. If you can see it there, just that really tiny little capsule that hand is holding on to. So that is really cool. Instead of getting some individual loose little capsules that could get lost, we do get one that she's holding. So that's neat. We'll take it because you see the ones that are equipped on her belt there that are molded in. That's cool. She gets two head sculpts. We get this beautiful, I mean, looks just so authentic, very, very show accurate. And the size, there's been some talking about that being corrected in this version compared to the Mattel version. I never had those, so those of you that do would know more about that. But you see this beautiful head sculpt looks perfect. All the paint apps, as well as just the coloring and the shades, everything looks great to me. And then we get a second head sculpt of her winking. So that is cute. She's winking at us, and that is just sweet, of her smiling, showing some teeth there and winking. And then we get a little loop device there, a little lasso, little loop that it's kind of like a sling that she would put her capsules in and throw them. And then we have the large loop here, large lasso type loop, and that's cool. None of these are bendable in the sense of having a wire, but they are soft plastic, so you can bend them technically. And then we have the little skid mark looking little, you know, poof of smoke type stand that her surfboard, her mechanical flying hoverboard will go on. So we'll look at that in just a moment. And that rounds out her accessories, looking really good here. Feel a little better about the capsule, seeing that we have that hand that we mentioned. So that's cool, and we'll look at all these accessories equipped and take a closer look at her right now. Alright, so taking a look at her, a closer look at her, you can see I've equipped that little capsule piece on her hand there, or her hand on that has the capsule piece on her arm. And I must say that overall so far, you know, I've been disappointed in like the Mandora that came with the electrocharger, and even Snarf. The smaller characters or thin arm characters or thin featured characters, smaller characters have, even the female ones, even Willow to a certain degree, the plastic on their arms have been a little brittle feeling, just a different feel to them than what we get with the larger figures, even the more classics, even like the Mattel, you know, all the other characters. They just, the larger armed, bulkier feeling ones just didn't have that brittle feel. I'm pleased to say that this one feels a little less brittle. I don't know if it's because there's paint apps over the plastic here, which it does feel like there's some paint over the core plastic, but it just overall, like the legs don't have paint on them, I don't believe. That's the color of the plastic, I believe, but they just feel, they don't feel as brittle to me. So that's a positive thing. Even the face here, a lot more the look of what we saw in the product shots or the, you know, promo shots compared to even Snarf. Just the quality of the plastic, and just show you very quickly what I'm talking about. It's hard to tell on camera, but this plastic feels brittle and just doesn't have the same look as what we got with the product shots, or what we saw in the product shots. And you can go back and see my review on him to see what I'm kind of talking about on that. But yeah, so far very pleased with how this has come out. So you see that how cool that capsule looks there. It's got a little ring around her right bicep, which is really cool. And this was a little trick here to get on, but there was a hole here, and I don't even want to take it out because it was so hard to get in, but there's a tiny little hole there. I did heat it up with a hair dryer and have to just kind of, you know, bend and move to try to get, I didn't want to heat this up because this is already soft. That's one of the problems. Like the little peg is very soft, but the skirt material is a little bit harder. I mean, it's soft plastic, but it's a little harder. And so heating up so that that hole could be manipulated to plug that in, but I'm pretty sure that's what that's for. It attaches to her belt there. And then, of course, that lasso thing can expand, or, you know, magically like expand and get larger for her to do the things that she needs to do to, you know, lasso a bad guy or something like that and bring him in, or throw a capsule to do a trick that she and Wilykat are doing together. Wilykit is the female, if you didn't know, and Wilykat is the male version of the twins, and they're the smallest. They're called the cubs or the kittens. I mean, they were always, you know, kind of treated like they were the younger ones. You know, it was only Lino's capsule that malfunctioned, reason he grew up and didn't stay the same size, even though in one of the waves we are getting a young Lino, so that's exciting. He'll be about this size, we do believe, or something very similar to this, and look like he did in that original very first episode, or the flashback episodes where he was actually on Thundera as a young cub or a kitten himself. So just looking really cool here. And while we're at it, taking a closer look, let's go ahead and look at the surfboard. The mechanical surfboard is just really looking cool here. The Thundercats logo circle there just looks perfect. I mean, the paint apps are perfect. You have the little peg hole for her to stand on. We'll try that out here in just a second. But look at the back. This is cool. You have the thrusters that balance them out here, and then the main thruster that would shoot out, you know, a flame effect. Would have been cool if we had gotten a little flame effect to have attached in there, but we may have one we can kind of attach somehow and make it work. But that's just neat. But I don't know that we really saw that in the show. It just kind of hovered, you know, like that, and they were able to fly around. But it is really cool, and I just love the way they did that. Again, I don't have the Mattel version to compare to. Never was able to win those on eBay at a decent price, and they were going just crazy expensive on the aftermarket. And there's proof that good things come to those who wait, because we finally getting Wilykit, and we'll eventually get Wilykat. So he's on his way, so that is cool. And so let's go ahead and show you that you can plug this effect piece that looks like, you know, like a little cloud of smoke or a little dash kind of thing going on and it dashing away. You can plug that, of course, into that hole in the bottom, and you do get a little bit of a pivot there. Actually, that popped off, but that's a ball joint, so you can pivot it to the right, pivot it to the left a little bit, pivot it up a little bit, pivot it down a little bit. So we'll have to just play around with that and see how much flexibility we'll have when she's actually standing on it. So let's go ahead and do that right now before we get to the articulation. And there she is, and I'm not sure if she'll stay up there because that peg, it pops on there, but it's not like an extremely tight hold. But you can see you can tilt it back like that. You're going to be able to tilt it forward or downward like that, and you can even tilt it to the right or to the left. She stayed on there. That's a miracle. That peg does kind of pop on that foot, and right now it's holding, but as you work it, you know, that's going to get that hole's going to enlarge and kind of probably get looser. But right now it's staying on there pretty good, so that's cool. But you're definitely not going to be able to, you know, turn it upside down and expect her to stay on it or anything. But that is really cool that you know, you have that flexibility and that ability, and then that she's going to be able to hold on because you got a peg hole right there at the base of each of the foot instead of the back, which really works good. And like I said, it pegs on pretty tight, but there's just not a lot to hold on to. Almost would have been nice to have gotten a second peg somewhere, but I guess in a way that then you would have had to been basically stuck with putting him in the right, you know, the exact place that it's showing, instead of being able to do it, you know, the way you want. So I guess in a way it's best not to have the second peg, you know, to each their own. But let's go ahead now and take a look at her full articulation. Alright, so I was going to show you that when it comes to making that stand up, if you have a stand, it didn't come with one, but most of you probably have a flight stand or some kind of stand that came with Figma or something. The hole that goes like usually, that normally goes like with the flight stand right there in that part there, will actually plug in to the back of this, and that way it's a tight fit, but it will go. Of course, it's a tight fit on the base that it came with too, and then you can do that pose that I've been doing where it looks like she's holding it, because that hand's not strong enough to literally hold it, but with a little flight stand, you know, you can make it work. So just showing you that, but moving our Wilykit in a little bit closer so we can take a look at her articulation. We want to take a closer look at this head sculpt. It's perfect. Just looks really good. It'll look up about that much, look down about that much. She does get some good head pivot, which that's cool. Turn side to side, of course. So that is really nice. The arms will go 360. And I believe it is because there's paint apps on these shoulders, paint apps on these forearms. So two-tone color there. You can tell it, there it is. You can see that. That's why it kind of has a better feel, I believe. Even the hands have some paint on it, because this flesh color here is just the plain you know, plastic, whereas and it's got the paint app from the forearm down. But it's well done. It's really well done. And over here the same, but you have the little bracelet or arm bracelet there going around there, so that's really cool. And as I said, all of these hands are horizontally hinged and will swivel, of course. Single jointed elbows, and then we get a swivel at the elbow instead of a bicep, you know, swivel, of course, because of these arms being so small and her being so small. So that makes sense for the most part. It's consistent with what Super 7 has done. And this side is the same way. There's no break there, even though they could have put one there at the bracer. There's not one there. So she has the elbow swivel the same way. Now here's where it gets interesting. She can bend forward about that much, just a little bit, but then bend back quite a bit. So that's nice. And also side to side. So there is a ball joint in between the waist and the hips, the diaphragm here. Well, it's a little lower than the diaphragm, but anyway, you get the same effect. And this logo is perfect here, very crisp, as you can see. Very crisp paint on that logo, looks perfect. And even the little details to this little belt buckle and these little capsules, really cool. And again, there's that piece. Now I'll go ahead and pull it off so you can see. There's a little hole here, and you're gonna have to do some trick to get that little odd shaped piece to go back in there. It's not easily done. And the main reason it's not easy is because if you pull back the plastic, there's a plastic rim which allows for that ball joint that is behind the hole. So of course that makes it where you can't really get to it as easy as you would if there was not something behind the hole obstructed. Alright, I'm going to be honest with you. The only way I could get mine back on, even trying to heat it up, was to pop, and it will pop out. Mine popped out very easily. I went ahead and tried it. That ball joint's not too snug, and you can pop it right back in pretty good. And I was able to jack her skirt up just a little bit so that I could get it cleared of that, because I'm telling you, once you get that little thing in, you better leave it in if you can even get it in there, because it is not easy. But it does help if you pop that ball joint out to put that little lasso thing in that hole. But it is no easy task. Okay, moving on to the legs. She's going to be able to see how it made the skirt go up. Now she looks like she's wearing, I don't know, grandma skirt or something. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. High waters, but not really high waters. That's for a man. But anyway, let me pull this back down. But you can see that the legs will go up a pretty good amount in the split category. Now you can see she'll kick pretty good amount there. She'll go back a pretty good amount. She's got single jointed knees like we've been seeing with Thundercats, and then again that rotation at the knee. No boot cut, but her feet has good articulation. It'll go all the way tiptoes. It'll go up a really good amount, and she gets excellent rockers that really help on that sled or that hoverboard. And remember the peg hole in the bottom to help with that too, so that you can get good position. It was very important that they got the feet right because of that hoverboard, and I believe they did. So she's looking really good. And overall, like I said, the only problem I've had, not really a QC issue as much, I guess, is just the design of the figure, is trying to get that little lasso in that hole. It was almost impossible until I popped her out of the ball joint there at the hip. But then I was able to get it on really easily, you know, and then pop it back in place, and it looks like it's holding on pretty good. But it took me a good 5 minutes to figure that out. But that's her articulation. Let's go and look at the second head sculpt, and then we'll move on to comparisons. And that looks excellent. Just take a look at that second head sculpt with her winking at you. She's just got her hand there on her hip, rested on the side there, hand to her side, and then, you know, just kind of a neutral feminine type pose or stance, and then she's just winking at the camera, looking very sweet. I love that. I like the look of her all the way around. I think she's going to go great with Wilykat. when we get him, and just excellent. So let's go ahead now, and by the way, just before we go to comparisons, just to show you, able to look up that much, look down about that much, still get some head pivot, and of course side to side, so same type of articulation for both heads. Alright, now let's do some comparisons. And here is our Wilykit next to Lion-O, Tigra, and Cheetara with her hoverboard and everything just right and ready. And even Snarf back here. Everybody, the whole gang is together and they're looking awesome. So cool. That's the core characters. Only one we're missing now is Wilykat. And when we get Wilykat, that first season of core characters will be complete. I will say that her skin is pretty white. In some shots you can see it almost so white that it maybe washes her out a little bit when I try to zoom in compared to the other figures. Like the lights are bright in here, but it almost washes her out. But then if I dim the lights too much, it makes her too dim, or makes the others dim and the background dim. So you know, but I mean, she's the right shade, I believe. I mean, it kind of does the same thing to Cheetara a little bit there on the front or the upper body. But overall, I think she's looking awesome, looking great alongside of these other characters. Really cool. Looks great. And here we are with the whole cast minus Wilykat. So we have Pumaira, we have Bengali, we have Lion-O, there's Linkso back there, and of course Tigra and Cheetara again, and then Snarf back there on the ground, and Wilykit. And they are just looking phenomenal here as they're talking, or she's talking to them about something that has concerned her, and is just looking amazing. Check them out. Looking neat. Thank you so much for joining us today for another Super Dave review. It was so cool to take a look at this Wilykit. Looking forward to looking at the rest in this wave. So stay tuned as we'll be pouring over some other ones like the very first Lunatic, as well as Captain Shiner and Hitachi-Man. And so it's so cool to begin to round out the core characters with this Wilykit. Now we just need Wilykat to really make it complete. And of course, Cat Slayer. Looking forward to that, hopefully in October. Come back and see us again, and here's some photos in the photo gallery.